Welcome back to the No Agenda Football Podcast. Or is it No Agendas?
No agendas.
We've been debating this in the group chat.
We've been debating this.
So let us
It's
know
not
in
been
the comments.
finalised. It's not been finalised.
Let us know in the comments. No agenda or no agendas? I prefer no agenda. It hits
You need to be
hard.
careful, Dan. It might affect the share prices, innit? So
No
just
agenda.
let's be clear
Listen,
with
the
people.
audience have stock in the company anyway.
Yeah,
So this affects their
So
share
we don't
price
want it
and
to
their
affect the
No
holdings.
shares.
agendas sounds better, man. No
That's saying
agendas.
to you. And that's a good segue. Speaking of shareholdings and share price and stock value and all
See
of
what I
that
did
stuff.
there? See what I did
Yeah, I
there?
see what you did. I see you, Jimmy. Takeover news. Qatar versus Ineos. We're getting to the end of the road finally of this whole. Only the Glazers can stretch out a sellout process from November to. You wonder why transfers take so long. If you didn't have the clue before, it was because of the owners. Now you know. What's going on here? My thing's moving mad. You guys see me okay? Yeah.
Yeah, we see you. We
All
see
right,
you here,
cool.
fam.
It's moving funny on my laptop. In any case, what I want to do is I want to break it down as I understand it. Yeah. Like, because for me, what this comes down to is what the offer is worth to the Glazers. Yeah. That's really what this comes down to. What is it worth to all this conjecture? The PSG president, this guy's the favorite, that guy's the favorite. I keep saying this, yeah. Ultimately, it's going to come down to Joe Glazer and the family deciding this is our preference, this is what we want. I'm sharing my screen. Can you guys see it yet?
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I can see you, but we can't see the screen yet.
You can't see me sharing the screen. I can see it.
Oh, I can't see it.
No, we can't see
Not
it.
yet. It's not coming. It's not showing yet.
I can see it. I don't know why you guys can't see it. This is annoying. I'll wait for a minute to come up. So if I'm going to look at it, fine, I'll just speak. And if it comes up, it comes up. Yeah. So it's really, really this simple. Let's say the values are the same. And I'm saying that because people pro Qatar get upset when the media say St. Jim's offers a bit more. No, they bid this, they bid that. Fine. Let's say both offers are worth 5 billion. Yeah. Let's just look at it that way. The Glazers would get. This is even mad. The Glazers would get 3 billion. Yeah, from Ineos because they want to buy 60% of the club. Yeah, so Ineos value the club at 5 billion. The Glazers own 69%. They want to buy 60. That's 3 bill. Yeah, if you look at it on the flip side with Sheik Jassim, let's say he values the club exactly at 5 billion, the same way Ineos do. The difference for the Glazers is they get 3.45 billion now. So that's 3 billion and 450 million. Yeah, 3.4. Today, cash. Yeah. So I'm going to put it to you, Elzo, first and foremost. Yeah. If you are just you right now, where you are in life, chilling, relaxing, what would you prefer? 3 billion in cash. Yeah. Knowing you own 9% of the football club and you may be able to get maybe a bill later, 3 years, 5 years from now, an extra 700 million, 5 years from now, or you taking that 3.45 billion in cash today, what would you do?
Am I saying it from me or from
No, for you.
For them.
You. No, for you. What would you do?
For me, I'll take the most cash. I'll take the most cash because I could use that to make more. That's just the way I see it. Give me the straight up cash. I'll then use it to go out and double it up again. That's just how I see it. I wouldn't wait around. I know I'm not wanted. The vibes are not great. So if I'm me, which I think I'm able to make money with money, I think everyone's able to make money with money. I always say to make big money, you need money. So yeah, I'll take the most cash and I'll go and make something happen with it. I'll flip it. That's just me.
Johnny, what would you do?
It's a famous saying in life, tomorrow's not guaranteed. Only today's guaranteed. Somebody offers me and when we're talking about billions, somebody offers me that kind of money, I'm taking it today because I might be dead tomorrow. And the way this world's been moving sort of this last, in 21st century, anything between that time period and now, anything could happen. I mean, look what's going on in the Middle East, in Europe at the minute. Anything could happen. It's a very unstable world, unfortunately. So somebody offers me 3.5 billion, and I can walk away from that. What's become, I would imagine, has become a bit of a headache to the Glazers. I'm taking that money, and I'm just going to close the chapter on that and open a new chapter, start a new book somewhere else. That's just what I'd do.
Jimmy, what about you?
So me right now today, I'm taking the cash. There's no question about it. Of course. I mean, but that's Jimmy today. That's Jimmy. That's Jimmy without the resources that the Glazers have. That's Jimmy without the big empire that they already have. That's Jimmy that actually needs cash rather than the Glazers who, do they need cash? Is that what they need right now for their business? Are they desperate for cash? If they are, then maybe it makes sense. But I don't think the Glazers are in a position where they're desperate for cash as an empire. So for me, I'm thinking, well, yes, I could take the cash, but the other route offers me longer term successful relationships, a continuous relationship that might be beneficial for my empire in the future. So the cash is good today, but actually this other route is not such a bad route because I don't need the cash right now today. So I don't know. Jimmy, of course I'd take the cash, it makes sense. But I think if I'm the Glazers, with what they've got, you have to look at it in a different way. You don't need the cash. I don't know what their finances are aside from Manchester United, but I can't see that they would need the cash that desperately.
What would you do? What would you do?
I do. If it was me, listen, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, this is what happens when you spend too much time around Joe Collo. Shout out to Joe. Or even, I'll give people an example, yeah? So Jay-Z has his brand Ace of Spades, right? And I think he sold it either to vodka or some other group, the group that owns vodka or whatever, Smirnoff or whoever, whatever they own, big vodka.
I think it's the Belvedere group, I think.
Belvedere group. So what he did initially was he sold 50% to them. Then he came back to them and said, I'm ready to sell another 25% of the company to you guys. Then he had to sue them. They did a whole audit. But then ultimately he sold that 25% on top of the original 50 years later, right? And now he has 25% of Ace of Spades, and he'll sell that eventually in the future. And the reason why he's doing it that way is because they're a bigger company. They can grow the brand bigger than he can. So ultimately, he's going to make more money in the long run. If he sold Ace of Spades 7 years ago, maybe he gets 1 billion. But by doing it this way, he's going to make 2.5 as an example. Those aren't the exact numbers. Those are just what I'm just using that as a reference point. So if I'm guaranteed 3 billion and I can retain 9% of the football club, I'm cashing out that 9% at a later date. Depending on what I want to do with I'm like 3 billion now. Bear in mind there are 6 of them. You can do the math on that. Works out to what's 700 mil each roughly or whatever. So I'm like, 3.4 bill now is tempting. But what's that 9% worth? Let's say it's 10%. 10% of 5 bill is 500 mil. So if the club stayed at its current value, okay, cool. But if we build a stadium, if the new Premier League TV deal comes in, if in our agreement, Daniel, let's say, because I don't want to get too technical with it because I do this in spaces with Joe, but simply put, what would happen is 3 to 5 years from now, they'd have to sit down at the table and agree a price to buy that remaining 9% Ineos to the Glazers, right? Who knows what that would look like? So actually, with all those question marks, now I'm looking at Ineos. Do I trust Ineos to build the new stadium? Do I trust Ineos to grow the brand? Ultimately, I'm betting on Ineos growing the football club in a 5-year period, like really, really well. Then I can cash it out. Then also, you need to think about it like this. Football clubs grow naturally anyway. So am I really relying on Ineos? It gets techie. That being said, 3.3, you know what? I'm cashing out. Because when I look at it,
real life, innit? It's real life.
Because I'll tell you what it is. What's the number? Why would I'd want to hold on to make a bill, right? So that 400 million that Sheik Jassim is guaranteeing me, If I'm going to leave that on the table, I need to double up. So I need at least 800 mil or 1 billion from Ineos in 3 to 5 years. Then I have to rely on them getting the financing because he's not going to use his own money to come back and buy me out. Yeah. Now I've rationalized it. Yeah, I think the Glazers might be cashing out.
Also, don't you think
I'd cash out, me personally.
Getting in bed, sort of, for a better phrase, with sort of Sheik Jassim and sort of the Middle East. Doesn't that open up, like, because obviously they've got much deeper pockets than Ineos will ever have in 5 lifetimes, right? So from a long-term perspective, won't that open up more opportunities for the Glazers in the long run, like by having sort of them as allies?
That's a good that's a good point, Johnny. I've never actually thought about that. I've never actually thought about. That's a good point.
No, there's an account on Twitter. It's like I think it comes across as like a parody account, but it's like someone who claims to be a Saudi journalist who seems to claim to know everything. But to me, I look at his reports and it looks like jokes. But he said in a tweet saying, to the like a message to the Glazers type of tweet, like, don't you guys realize that you don't want to make business enemies out of these guys? Because right now there might be a small country, but they've got so much reach in the business world that if they're genuinely pissed off with you, they could damage some relationships for you. And I know that's a reach, and I know that's like a bit far-fetched, but Johnny, it's a great point. Like, it's an absolute.
I think when you've got long-reaching tentacles, again, I'm just using sort of metaphors, but when you've got long-reaching tentacles like the Sheik Jassim and no doubt the Royals.
One thing though, you guys are stereotyping. Let's be clear, yeah. When it comes to
we're not stereotyping.
No, people are, because they hear Sheik, they hear that region, they say the big guys in that region are the Saudis. Let's be clear, yeah. So like when it comes to that region, Qatar little boys, yeah. Let's just be clear. To be clear, compared to the Saudis, they're little boys. So this idea that if you burn bridges with Qatar,
but that's just the Saudis.
Stop. No, but this idea. Yes, but it's very, very simple. When it comes to business, yeah. If you offer something, if you go anywhere other than one country, which is Qatar, and you go to the Middle East, if you have any value, you can do business. No one's going to say, the UAE are not going to say to you, because of the bid with the Qataris, we're not going to do business with you Glazers if you want to bring your cricket club here or want to host a tournament here. That's just not how it works in reality. If you want to do business with the Qataris again, this doesn't mean it's over. It might make things difficult, but I don't mean it's over, because money talks.
Yeah,
money talks.
Money is money.
If you sort of align yourselves with them to any degree, I imagine that's going to open up more opportunities for you than versus not
but
doing.
They're not aligning with them. They're just selling something to them. Aligning with them.
Maybe aligning is the wrong word. I might be using the wrong word.
Aligning would be saying to the Sheik, "Yo, why don't you offer us the same terms that Ineos are offering?" That would be aligning. If anything, if I put from my point of view, I'd prefer to do that structure with the Qataris then. If you want to talk about maintaining a relationship, do what Jim's doing. How about you buy 60% of my shares, let the family hold on to 9%, because I know what you're going to do. I know what type of sponsorship money you're going to bring into the
That would be an option if the Qataris was open to it, but they just want.
They just want the club.
Exactly. They're not
so
at all.
That just tells you, listen, if it was me, I'm taking the cash. And also, though, let me just say this. Ben Jacobs keeps alluding to the fact that Carla or whoever they're called, one of those shark investment hedge fund guys, they're still involved in it. So, and Ben Jacobs, who for me has probably been the best journalist on this, whether people like it or not. Because people only like what fits their narrative. He seems to be the most clued in because he talks from a finance point of view. Hold on, Johnny. Unlike some others. 1 second, Johnny. So people need to be aware this could result in strategic investment with neither Sheik Jassim or Ineos winning. That is an outcome. That is a possible outcome, whether people like it or not.
Not this far into it, surely. We would have heard about them.
I wouldn't. No, they're still there. It's just the media not. People expect a sale because the Rain Group have been, they're doing what they've been paid to do, right? And funny enough, one day, let me just give people insight to the conversation. Shout out Joe Collo again. One day, Joe's like, yo, yo, Devils, come off mute. I'm like, what's up? He's like, explain to me why, shares underwritten by the Rothschilds, why do the Glazers need the Rain Group to sell them? And when he asked me that question, I was like, they don't. And he started laughing. He's just like, yeah, exactly. So all this stuff about the preferred bidder, blah, 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 this ain't the Chelsea process. They don't need to do the Rain Group. Literally, it says in the statement, they're financial advisors. They don't have a contract to sell that says, you know what I'm saying to you, we have to sell through the Rain Group. No, they're just financial advisors. They're there. I think they're there just to basically get Sheik Jassim to pay exactly what the Glazers want in it. That's what I think Rain Group are there for. As Ben Jacobs would put it, to create competitive tension. That's what the Rain Group is there to do. Obviously, help with facilitating all the paperwork gets done because it's a £5 billion transaction. But ultimately, listen, that's the state of play for the Glazers. Do you want 3 billion in cash now or 3.4 billion? What do you want? Oh, Brian's here. How you doing, Brian? What's going on?
Welcome, Brian.
I didn't see you there, even though I added you.
What's up, Brian?
Question for you before we move on to the next topic. Not sure if you heard all of that. Simply put, you have a choice, you personally. And again, in the comments, let me know what you would do in the comments as well. You have a choice, Brian, right? 3 billion in cash now, with the potential to get, I don't know, 500, 600, who knows, more money in the future for the 9% that you hold on to, right? Or 3.45 billion in cash right now. What would you do?
I would definitely take the cash up front. Yeah.
We've all said that, Brian. You're not on your own. We all said that.
And to be completely honest with you, I think that's in my personal opinion, I think that's going to be the thing for the Glazers if they're going to sell the club. I feel like it's going to be, how can we get the most money up front and walk? Because I mean, if you're going to sell, in my mind, you probably don't want a whole lot to do with the club going forward. You probably just want to get as much money as you can out of the investment so that you can invest in other things going forward from there. That will, in my mind, I feel like that will make the most sense for them. How can we sell this asset that actually gives us more bidding power for future assets that we want to add to our portfolio going forward? So I can understand why it's taking them a little bit of time to figure it out. Want to make sure they can get as much money as possible.
Oh, now it wants to work. Okay, cool. So that's how I've got it laid out. And by the way, one other thing I'm going to address. That video of Ornstein going around, it's an old video. Ignore that stuff. At the end of the day,
Thing.
Yeah, don't worry about that. Honestly, just
Can I put something out there? Because I was driving today and I was just thinking this to myself. Do you think they just used Jim to get them?
No,
to just put
I
up.
think one thing that I keep shouting out Joe was adamant before. It's a strategic alternative. So when they announced to the New York Stock Exchange they were going to do this process, they literally covered everything: a sell, investment, minority stake, strategic investment, which is slightly different, full takeover, partial. These are the Glazers. This is how they operate. So I don't think they've used. It's not so much they're using Jim. It's like they want to. It's like you, Elzo. You want to sell, but you want the right price. If you want the right price, you need bidders. You need competition.
What I'm saying though, if they knew in the back of their minds they was always going to sell and they always wanted cash, do you think they use that as an angle? And when I say use them, not just the offer he's making, the media, they might have put it out to people that Jim's very close and this is what's happening. And that
I think this is my
more
conspiracy theory. Yeah, this is my conspiracy theory. Let's all keep it real. We all know where this money's really coming from. I don't know why Man United fans fake it, or at the end of the day, we all know where the money's really coming from. The 92 Foundation did not exist when the Glazers made this announcement. It did not exist. How does a foundation that didn't exist now have 5 billion in cash to pay the Glazers.
I didn't
Let's
know.
not-
I didn't
Yeah,
know.
let's
I
not
didn't
play.
either.
Let's not play stupid. So this is like an episode of Billions. Yeah, I just think it's taken a lot of work for Sheik Jassim and that bid to make sure that their financials look the way that they're supposed to. So if you understand Rain Group and who they are and what they do, this is the company that just sold the WWE, by the way, to some people out in the Middle East. Yeah, it's what Rain Group do. They did the Chelsea situation. This is what they do. They sell billion-dollar companies. But also, this company, Man U PLC, yeah, is listed on the New York Stock Exchange. These people aren't playing around. So it wouldn't surprise me if they've said to, the Glazers, look, these guys have more work to do. One, to match Jim's bid, but also they need to get their paperwork in order so the Premier League have no issues with the Premier League. That's why I think Ineos went further down the road as an unofficial preferred bidder, working out what the Glazers want. Is it 60%, 65%? Do you and Joel want to stay? Do some of your siblings want to stay? Are they leaving? They went further down the road because ultimately, we know where their money is coming from. It's coming from a bank. It's coming from one of the brothers and cousins of the people that the Glazers deal with on a regular basis. Do you see what I'm saying to you? That's really all it is. I think at this point it's pretty obvious. Sheik Jassim's got his ducks in a row, but he's also had to increase his bid because he knows that, look, you need to look at it this way. Yeah? Ineos are playing the game only they can play. He can't match. Jim can't match the cash they have. So the 60% with the promise of that 9% that you retain being worth more in the future, that's the only tactic he's got. So if you're Sheik Jassim, that's probably why he hasn't been going crazy with the bids to begin with. Because he knows ultimately whatever I offer is going to be more than what Jim offers today. And the Glazers, yes, most definitely, they've been using those investment companies like the one that used to own AC Milan, the Carlisle,
Daniel,
people. Hold on, Johnny. Let me finish my thought, I beg. And yes, Ineos, to, as Ben Jacobs put it, create competitive tension. If there was none of this competitive tension, all this fake PR and blah, 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 would they have the offers that they have today? Would they be as high? The answer is no. So the Rain Group, and to another extent as well, Sheik Jassim and Ineos, they've played their part with their PR in getting the price up to what it is, isn't it? So the Glazers are stupid the Glazers are dumb at football, but when it comes to they've got good advisors when it comes to stuff like this. Otherwise, they wouldn't have owned a football club to begin with. Before you go, Johnny, before you go, wait. I want to just point something out as well, yeah. All of this, the Glazers are staying. Let's be clear on something. That 69%, right, of the B shares that the Glazers own, it represents 97% voting power. Yeah? Because of the complicated clauses and structure of their B to A shares. Yeah? People look at it, if you own 50% of the company, no, it's about voting power. Voting power. So when Ineos buys 60% of the club from the Glazers, if they did, they'd be getting, and these are just estimates, around 91% of the voting power. If that were to happen, I'm not aware of any country where the 9% majority can cause you any problems in the company. And there are big misconceptions out there. 51% is not enough. There are some countries, like in the UK, if one group held 25%, they can cause problems for you on deciding certain things within your own company. If one group has 25%. So by Jim, because we heard 50, most recently I heard 60, this would explain why. If he gets 91% voting power, the Glazers are just investors. Just like the 150 hedge funds you never hear about who own 31%, the Glazers become just like them. All of this talk about the Glazers staying, retaining power, you're just upset because you think Ineos might win the bid. You want something to cry about. In reality, they'll have no power at this football club if Ineos buys 60% of their shares, because the voting power will be overwhelmingly. They'd need to achieve 76% voting power to make sure the hedge funds and the Glazers wouldn't be a problem for them. It looks like they're aiming for around 90%. So in that context, they'll be fine. Apologies, Johnny. What did you want to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say, from Sheik Jassim's point of view, why, if you want the club that badly, why not just sort of Twitter speak, drop the bag and just just make him an offer that's irrefusable. Make him an offer that's irrefusable. Like sometimes, in life, people make you offers where you just simply can't turn down because it's too good. So if you want Man United, like
No, but that's
you know,
that's what Johnny. That's what they're doing.
they're not blowing him out of the water though. It's not being. They're not
But
blowing
Johnny,
him
this
out
is
of the
the
water.
thing.
but
The only
Johnny,
people who have told you that. Hold on, Jimmy, wait. The only people who have told you they would do that are, trust me, bro, I live in Dubai, and those people in Twitter spaces. If you actually listen to the PR, right, that's actually come from decent sources, he's always said he won't overpay.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's it.
If
So
you
to
want
be
it that
fair to
badly,
Sheikh
man, like,
Jassim,
sometimes you have to overpay in life. Like,
no, but Johnny, to be fair, if he's keeping his word, I'm respecting him keeping his word at the end of the day. Like, football fans, you're entitled. Who are you to tell him he should do this with his money? Who,
no,
like,
I'm
respectfully?
not saying he should. I'm not saying he should. I'm just saying, like, if you want it that badly, like, you know, it's arguably the biggest cup in the world. If you want it that, if you want to be the owner of the biggest cup in the world, arguably, then just fucking.
He's
No,
already paying more than the value of the club. What more
I
can
know
he do?
he is, and I know. Listen, I like me personally.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what he can't pay more.
Like, one
You know,
second,
way more than the club is worth, Johnny. Does
on a much lower
can't work
scale.
like that, can it?
Like, I'm sure, but between all five of us here, on a much lower scale, we've overpaid for things in life. I've definitely overpaid for things.
Johnny, we're talking about $1 billion, man.
Yeah,
Come
but
on,
we're talking
man.
about billions. It's not the same as overpaying for a pair of shoes, isn't it?
I'm not saying
And
that, but
Johnny,
no.
they're already overpaying.
Fair enough.
They're already overpaying.
Johnny,
Yeah,
the point-
I would also
Wait,
say this.
Wait. Let me put it to people like this, yeah? Look at the overall cost of investment, yeah? Just really think about it. They're having to pay 5 billion cash to get the football club. Then they're going to spend 1 billion cash to build a new stadium.
Mm-hmm.
So when they say 6 billion bid from Sheik Jassim, it's because he's saying, yo, I've got $1 billion here for the stadium, for transfers, for everything else. And the club's going to be debt free. So my overall cost of investment is 6 billion and probably a little bit more.
Probably more.
So if you're asking him to drop 6 billion just to buy the Glazers out and get rid of the hedge fund guys and get the, so that's 6 billion.
And then expect him to invest more.
And then now his overall cost of investment goes to 9-10. And remember, these people, I'll be honest with you, Man United got the be-all and end-all for the Qataris. They've made it very, very clear their strategy is to own multiple football clubs. If they can have the crown jewel, which is Man United, fantastic.
Great. Yeah.
If they don't, it doesn't change their end goal. Yeah. They want to own a piece of European football. That's literally what they want to do. Yeah, because European football is the most lucrative. Let me just mute Johnny. So yeah, they love to own Man United. It's not going to stop their, let's keep it blunt, their government's overall plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is government policy that you're seeing. These football clubs are assets for a government. Yeah. So if they don't get Man United, there's assets that they can buy who are cheaper and come with less stress and less pressure. They can go buy Tottenham. They can go buy a mid-table club.
Yep.
So why does he have to drop 6 bill cash and then go drop club?
Let me say this though, yeah. That's a good thing, because we all know they could go and get something a lot cheaper, a lot less stress that's attached to it. No bidding wars, really. I think it's a good thing. They're showing that they really want the club.
I'm
surprised, to be honest. I'm surprised they've stuck at it, because for me, it's simple, isn't it? You look at the multiple valuations of this club have valued this club way less than what the Glazers are asking for. So you're then asking this group of people who are very clearly very interested in buying a product to invest the right amount of money. Well, the right amount of money is way below what they're offering anyway. And yet they've come back and offered even more money because they actually do want to buy the club. So for me, this whole idea that the Glazers should get what they can get. Of course they should. They're businessmen, but if they claim to want to sell Manchester United the right way, which is the PR that they've tried to spin when it comes to the Ineos group, it looks like they're trying to make us think, oh, it's because they're thinking about who's going to actually look after the. It's none of that bullshit. They're already overpaying. These guys are already overpaying for this club, and I think the Glazers should just take the cash and go. Take the cash and walk. No more stress with Manchester United. Forget about us.
Brian, I think you wanted to say something as well. Then we'll move on
Yeah,
to the
you
next topic
yeah,
after.
you touched on it a little bit earlier. I was going to say that my only comment to what Johnny was saying was I actually don't necessarily know if they want the club, quote unquote, that bad because they don't need it, right? That's what I was going to say. Is like I think that for them, it's not just buying the football club, and it's not because if that was the case, then the Glazers could just pick on their desperation and take all their money and walk. But I think for them, it's how can we get the best deal possible on our end and still get what we want at the end of the day. And if we can't make that happen, then we will walk, right? I mean, on a smaller scale within the game, we've seen clubs do that. We're like, we want this player. Here's what we're willing to give you. If you're not willing to settle with that price, we will walk and we'll find a different player to go after. I think it's similar in that sense for Sheik Jassim. He's like, and the fact that they're like, we're already overpaying. We're not going to overpay to a crazy extent to where it actually hurts our government's buying power to be able to own multiple football clubs. Like we don't want to do that. That hurts our overall goal. So, and they already have the buying power to outspend Sir Jim, so that's not an issue. But for them, it's not about a bidding war. It's less about a bidding war, and it's more about like, right, how can we get the best deal possible for us, so that we don't feel like we just got hosed by a bunch of Americans on something that they don't even really care about at the end of the day. So,
facts there. Give me 1 second, people. Let me just do some housework real quickly. Let's do some housework. Again, quick summary. Let me know in the comments what you would do. Yeah, just if you're watching after the live stream or if I post this on Twitter, let me know what you would do. Not the Glazers, what you would do. If you had the choice to get 3 billion in cash today, knowing you might get X amount, let's say 600, 700 million for your 9% at a later date, or would you take 3.5 billion in cash today? What would you do in that situation? Let me know in the comments. Another thing as well, don't be this whole B share thing. David Ornstein, go watch the actual full video. He explains it. That clause would be gone. The 69% that the Glazers own represents 97% voting power. And that part is important. And what it looks like from recent media reports, Ineos are aiming to get about 90% of that voting power. That's what they're looking to do. In that instance, the Glazers are just regular investors. Yeah? They're just regular investors. Even if it's B shares that they own, cool. They're not regular investors. You know, they've got significant shares. That's fine. That's cool. But in terms of voting power, once you have over 75%, it's a wrap. Forget it.
Danny,
No one can hinder what you want to do when you have more than 75% voting power. So that's what Ineos are aiming to do. So all of this scaremongering about how the Glazers stay, they won't impact the football club if they stay, if they would stay. All I would say is, listen, man, we're all in agreement here. Everyone here has agreed. They've given their reasons why. We know what we would do in this circumstance. What would you do? Let us know. What was you going to say, Jimmy?
Oh, no, I was going to say, can I ask you a yes or no question? This, everyone else can answer the question as well. But yes or no, if from what we know so far, from what everyone knows so far about the two parties, if it was Jim Ratcliffe that takes over the club, if it was the Ineos group that takes over the club, does the landscape look different from the perspective of us fans? Does it look any different to what it would look like under the Qatari ownership? Do you guys think it will be a completely different experience with the Qataris for us as football fans? So in terms of football signings and all that sort of stuff, would it look completely different to the between the Qataris and Ineos? And I need you guys to just tell me yes if you think yes, or if you think no.
I'm going to go first and say yes, 100%. It's going to look very different. It's going to look very different.
I agree with as well. I think it'll look a lot different.
It's not like me when I get a haircut.
The signings, the marketing. It's good.
Everything's going to be the best in class, isn't it?
Yeah, it's going to be levels, Jimmy, bro.
All I know is this. It's just Jimmy. If we end up with Sheik Jassim as the owner of Manchester United, we don't have to worry about players who aren't good enough staying at this football club ever again. Simple as that. I can't speak to their competence in building a win. I can't speak to that. But I know this: when you have money and you can print money, and a Qatari Airlines deal, and 10 other sponsors from that region that we're going to get, and nobody will question because we're actually Man United. We're actually a brand that can command this stuff, unlike you know who. We don't have to worry about holding crap players.
So, in your opinion, it's yes. You think it would look completely different?
Unfortunately, the problem with Ineos is we have to operate like any other self-sustainable football club, which is if you make mistakes, you pay for them. Yeah. And we've been paying for mistakes since we got these bastards in 2005. And we only were able to be successful because we had two gurus, one manager and one CEO, and so Alex Ferguson and David Gill. That's what it took to win with these bozos in charge. And to be fair, they were working with the father, Malcolm Glazer, not the incompetent children who ain't got anything out the mud. The trust fund babies. Malcolm Glazer, rest in peace to him, he got it out the mud. He's self-made. These children are not self-made, they're trust fund babies. And this asset should be worth more. And somehow they're going to end up with 5 billion cash. So I know I'm going off on a tangent because actually thinking about it gets me angry. But yeah, Ineos, it's more of the same, just with maybe with an owner who might listen, who maybe actually has football ambitions and wants Man United to be successful. Which is nice, but I need the bread. What was you going to say, Johnny? Then we'll move on to the next topic.
No. I agree.
It's all about the money. If I could play Shane McMahon's like all about the money tune right now, I would. What we're going to move on to next is obviously like this is just the elephant in the room. Manchester City have done it. You know, they've gone and won the treble. All the Liverpool and Arsenal fans seem really, really happy about it for some reason. Not sure why.
Yeah, I don't
know why they're happy that another football club's achieved such an amazing thing. While they haven't achieved that. That part I don't get. So what I want to talk about is City Centurions versus their treble winners. Who's the better team? And what I want is, I don't have the fancy graphics to go through this. I'm going to go into the transfer market. Let's go back and look at their 17-18 team. Before we do that, let me go around quickly. Elzo, real quick. City Centurions or treble winners?
Well, you need to break it down a bit for me. Like, what do you mean?
No. Which team is better off memory?
A team as a whole, or individuals, or what?
What team? However you class it, however you define it.
It's always my team. It's always.
No. City Centurions or City or Manchester City.
Oh,
the 18-19 season.
Centurions for me.
Was Fernandinho still in that?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Centurions.
He was, yeah.
And it was 17-18, by the way.
Think of players like.
Was Company still in that as well?
Yeah.
Yaya Toure, Companies, players like that.
Centurions definitely. Yeah. Fernandinho,
Laporte, Serge Aguero, you got Gundogan was in there, Raheem Sterling, John Stones.
Centurions.
Company.
Let's stop again. You guys are like hyenas. Saying a Twitter space. There's no agendas podcast.
For me, it's not
smash. Make sure you like. Make sure you subscribe. Elzo, there's no unpacking. Just straightforward. I'm gonna start again from scratch here.
All right,
Who
are you picking?
Centurions, easy.
Cool. Jimmy, City Centurions or City treble winners?
I'd say Centurion, yeah, as well. I would. It's quite easy for me. Just so many players in that team that I like. So many players. Some of these City players now I can't even remember their face.
Brian, man's unpacking. See, man can't help themselves.
Sorry, yeah. When you start, you started. It is what it is.
Brian, who are you picking?
Treble winners.
Interested. Johnny, who you going with?
Centurions is not even debatable for me. I think what that team were doing, man, fucking scary.
You know,
that's the closest I've seen to Barcelona 11.
I want to go back to Brian before we even get to those teams. Why do you think City treble
You need
winners
to
are
say
better?
yours first.
No, don't worry about mine.
I
Why
never
do you
do
think?
titles up. He always keeps us in the dark.
Don't need to worry about mine. Brian, treble winners over their Centurion team. Why is that?
I felt like the Centurions, while they were dominant in the Premier League, they couldn't hack it in Europe. And I feel like while I feel like when I say couldn't hack it in Europe, I mean they couldn't get over. There were humps that they couldn't get over. There are teams who it took that team a lot longer on the European stage to figure themselves out. And I think that when Pep Guardiola figured it out and got in certain players alongside, like they when things clicked, especially for this treble winning team, they stopped losing games. Like in the beginning of the season, everybody was writing them off. Things clicked into gear, and they stopped losing games. They caught Arsenal. They beat us in the FA Cup final, and they squeaked through against Inter in the Champions League final, which is a feat I don't think that they would have done in previous seasons with the players that they had. Like Sergio Aguero, phenomenal footballer. Like they've had great players alongside, like all over their team, but like especially the addition of Erling Haaland at his age and at his output right now helped them reach a level that I think they've struggled to reach in seasons past. So like, and City have been dominant in the Premier League for the better half of a decade. So like getting 100 points is an achievement, but Pep Guardiola was never really worried about the Premier League. He wanted to get over the hump of the Champions League. And the fact that he was not only able to come from behind and beat Arsenal to the Premier League when Arsenal comfortably should have just won the title, he was able to reach the FA Cup final and win that, and then go to the Champions League final and win that as well. So I think the treble winning side for me is just better. Trophies mean everything. Trophies mean everything.
Who disagrees and why, Jimmy? I see you're ready.
I just that Centurion team for me. There's two main things for me. It felt like they were just all silky players, man. It just felt like they always looked like they didn't even have to work hard to win games. You know, it looked like they were so good at playing football. They look effortless. I feel like this team now, I've seen them struggle against teams that I don't think they should be struggling against. And I'm not saying that Centurion team didn't struggle at times, but I think they look more silky. I think they were, but obviously they've played longer together, haven't they? This is a newer City team. You know, this team is still growing together. But I think that team they just read each other. They were on the same wavelength at all times. They made all games look easier. This City team has made some games look a little bit harder than they should look. I mean, you know, you can go back to some matches and you think, what? How did they? I mean, they made some pretty average teams look good this season. You know, I think they're not as silky as that Centurion team. I think they've had to push in games a lot, which is probably a good quality to have, you know, in football terms generally. But they've looked laboured sometimes, and you know, and they've really struggled against, you know, going up against an Arsenal team. I know we all have, but I don't think that Arsenal team should have given them this much problems. I think they should have been away a long time ago. So I feel like,
in fact, listen. I'm one of these people, the under 25s in particular, don't like it. Pep fans don't like it. The Champions League kind of washed this season. I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. Great achievement. It is a great achievement to be that consistent over 3 competitions. I think their experience, quality of their team, and also Pep's greatness. Like Pep's greatness is the difference maker. It's not that team. It's Pep's greatness along with the experience within that team. It's a combination of different things for me. Because when you really look at it, Bayern Munich changing managers, their situation, they've just sacked their technical director and CEO. Real Madrid players are getting offered to go to Saudi Arabia. PSG, they're about to sack that coach Galtier. They're in flux. They've basically kept the same team, more staying power, improved and got Haaland at a time where everybody else is declining in Europe. And ultimately, to be honest with you, that's the way it goes in football. I'll be honest with you. That's what you're supposed to do. So I don't want to sound like it sounds like I'm hating, but I always say this: when we got our first title back in the 2000s after Jose won 2 in a row, Chelsea dropped a level.
Yeah,
they did.
Yeah, we
They
took
dropped a
advantage of
level.
that season.
Yeah, and we took advantage. But you know what we did after that? We won 3 in a row.
Yeah,
Just to make sure. Okay, yeah, we got advantage. You dropped a level. They
lost you for a minute, Devils.
You're on
Oh,
mute.
we can't hear. We can't hear you. You're on mute. You're on mute.
Hello, Catty, Daniel, can you see us?
We can't hear you.
Catty.
All right. So since he's gone, let me just carry it quickly. My reasoning is pretty similar to Jimmy. This season, I feel like teams could get at them. Obviously, we know how their season ended. Like the final third, they was turning it up, but overall, the season, I feel like teams could get at them, and we saw teams get at them. That Centurions team, like Johnny said, is probably the closest thing we've seen to that Barca side, where it just looks like no one's touching them. That's why I think Jimmy made a good point and Johnny made a good point. I feel like let me simplify it like this: if we had gone into that cup final against the Centurions, I would have
been
said, "Yeah, I'll see you next season." This season, even though they've been really good, I still felt that there was some hope in it. But I think Johnny made a good point saying it's the closest we've seen, because that Centurions team just looked, the way they kept the ball.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
The way they played football and just dominated teams and just strangled them to death. It was just crazy.
When we go back to that Centurion team,
but I'm not sure. Danny, you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
If you go back to that Centurion team, like far too often when you watched them, definitely for me anyway, they had your jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe what I was watching. It was absolutely. If you could put silk on the pitch, it was a Centurion team. It was literally like the silkiest football I've seen since that Barcelona team in like 2010, 2011. It was just like. It was just mesmerizing. It was actually mesmerizing watching them. And I hate to say that because obviously it's Manchester City, but speaking objectively, it genuinely was mesmerizing football that they were playing. It was just
if there was a City fan in here, they would have chopped this section off nice and neat. Look at them praising us. Look at how much they love us.
That's the thing. Like Jamie Carragher and everyone that wants to hate on everything Man United's achieved, they made this thing about the 99 team being better than the treble winning team. Whatever, cool. What they miss is, and we're going to get into that debate after this, as Man United fans, and bear in mind, we're talking about two teams that have actually won a European trophy, unlike cities that we're comparing, but we debate the double versus 99. Well, the treble's 3, the double's 2. So why do we debate it? We debate it because the quality of player, the style of football, who they went up against. There's different reasons as to why we debate which team is better. But the treble is better than a double, no, on paper.
Yeah.
Treble, double. But some people think the double team is better. So it just goes to show you, you can perceive a team being better, but they may not have the trophy. Am I breaking up?
You definitely are for me.
You stop. You stop now. I can hear you again now.
It's very static.
Because I've heard this before. So, for example, that Chelsea team, whatever year they kept 14 clean sheets, that team was more dominant than Arsenal's Invincibles. The results say the Invincibles is more dominant. Your eyes, when you watched it, told you there was no point watching a Chelsea football match in 04-05. Pointless. You couldn't lay a glove on them. They may have had some games that resulted in them being defeated, but if you remember that season, you couldn't touch Chelsea. The game, I used to switch off these games at 50 minutes, 60 minutes. Like, this is pointless. You look at the Invincibles, they kept you engaged because they gave teams a chance. Yes, they kept getting the results to be invincible. When you watched it and you felt like they might lose today, 10 minutes to go, they could lose. Are they going to come back to get the draw? I think they set a record for draws as well. So it just depends how you view it. I'd go with... it's tricky. I'm going to go with the treble winning team because I think this is Pep at his best.
Yeah,
right.
I agree.
People
Oh yeah,
forget
as a manager, yeah, I would
Yeah,
agree with that. I would agree with that.
And that's
He
that's my thing too. If we're going to compare, if we're going to say the Centurions are the closest thing to that Barcelona side, the only thing that they lack were the trophies.
Yeah.
They didn't get the they
But I
didn't
have
they
to
didn't
look
get
at-
they didn't get the hardware.
But this is the
They didn't get
most
the hardware.
diverse.
Not having that.
This is the most diverse version of Pep Guardiola I have ever seen. I've never seen Pep this diverse with his
We're
tactics
talking about
ever
the
before.
team. We're not talking about the
Ever.
manager. If we're talking about the team,
Yes,
No,
of
but
course,
the
no, but that's
team-
why
but
that's why Danny
Elzo,
said this.
the team is a reflection of the manager.
Yes.
So that's why. So the experience, as Man United fans, we know what experience and what it looks like when it translates to winning. That's why they're able to get this. Oh, Bayern, you dropped off a bit. Cool, we'll pick you off. Madrid, you hold on 1 second, Elzo. Madrid, you can't do heritage again. We'll pick you off. This is what staying power looks like. This is what experience looks like. So even though in one hand, before I was saying the Champions League has dropped off, well, they haven't dropped off. They stayed the same. That's football. When everyone else drops off, you want to stay at your level, so you pick everybody off. That's what they've done. And I've seen this team play 4 or 5 different formations, try to figure it out. People tell me Haaland's the problem and all this nonsense. And ultimately, they've done the treble. So I have to go with this team over the Centurions.
I have to give the shout for the change in system mid-season. That is one of the best things I've seen from any manager. Just to find a way, not even just the way he done it, just to be able to think, right, this isn't working. I'm gonna have to find a way because I want to do big things this season. And he done it and he made it work. So hats off to him for that.
What's impressive about this treble winning team is that if you notice, like last season to this season, once this team does click into gear, all right, might not be as silky as their Centurion team. It's not. I don't think anybody would debate that. But last season and this season, when they just click into gear, they're like a steam train. They're just unstoppable. They just go win after win, and they just keep churning win, and they just find this way to win. And like I said, it's like a steam train. You can't stop it. And they did it last season. They've done it this season again. I remember Arsenal fans around that time when they drew to, I think it was to Liverpool away, or they might have lost. I can't remember what the result was, but it wasn't a good result, right? I remember on that time you had Arsenal Mo and a few other prominent Arsenal accounts saying, "Oh, but they've got to win 11 in a row." And I'm like, I mean, they've done it before. Like they're very capable of doing it. They're like, yeah, but I don't see. I'm like, what? And what happened? They just went and did it. Because that's what I'm saying. When it clicks into gear with this team, it's very, very hard to stop them. Very hard. And that's a very admirable quality of a team.
They've only
comment.
No, go ahead.
Clacking on the comments real quick, Brian. Centurions were better offensively, more food, scored more goals. The recent City team is better defensively and is elite. I think he means rest defense. That's why I'm saying this team is a reflection of Pep's greatness, their own experience and working with, because think about Gundogan, Stones, KDB, Bernardo Silva, Kyle Walker. They've got a core group there who have been there for a while. That's why Pep's able to tinker in the way that he's done this season. And his improvement as a manager is reflected in somebody like John Stones as an example. Right? That's why I have to put, don't get me wrong, from aesthetics, free-flowing football, which team actually strikes fear into you in the way that they play, definitely Centurions. But we're talking substance, nuance.
Yo, Danny, I just wanted to, Elza wanted to, have you seen, Elza wanted to shout out Rids, who's listening from Mogadishu, I think. So
where's
you
that?
want to shout out Rids. Shout out Rids.
Oh, my bad. Apologies. Mogadishu, I don't know where that is. I imagine the time zone difference is crazy. Shout out to you. Appreciate you supporting the show. If you're still watching, let me know where. I can Google it, of course, but let us know where that is. Because do anyone know where that is? I don't know where that is.
Somalia.
Mogadishu.
I believe it's the capital of Somalia.
Capital, yeah.
Oh, is it? I've never known what the capital of Somalia
Shout out
is.
Somalia, man.
Shout out to you, Rids. Appreciate that. Let me know what time it is in Somalia as well.
Yeah, let us know what time it is, man. We don't know. I don't know what time.
All right, look. Let's get on to. Do I want to go through the teams? Not yet. I'm gonna test your minds in a second. All right. Manchester United. Treble team. 99, or double team? What are we going with, ladies and gentlemen?
Double.
What are we going with?
Double.
Full team, personally. Full team.
See?
Yeah, but you see, Danny, this is a problematic question.
No,
man.
wait. But three
It's a
trophies.
problematic question.
So hold on,
It
wait.
is. It's
Stop.
a problematic question. It's loaded.
Stop.
It's too
For the
loaded.
same reason I said the Centurions, I'm saying double.
Danny, can I just explain why I'm saying it's a problematic
I
question?
think that double team is.
Wait.
It's not a problematic question.
No. Let me.
team is better?
We'll carry on with the question, but this is what you need to bear in mind.
No,
right?
Jimmy, you need to understand that
When we're all answering
front
this
line.
question, bear in mind, I guarantee you that all of you watched more of the 2008, 2009 team than you watched of the 99 team.
No.
Maybe Danny, maybe not you, but I'm saying I can speak for myself. I was old enough to watch it, but I can't say that I watched a lot of that season. And that was my second year having a season ticket. And I went to 10 games, but I don't think I watched that much of the Premier League on TV. So there's always a tiny little bit of a bias when people are, because you remember this because it's fresh. They won you the Champions League, they won you the league. It's fresh in your minds. You get giddy. When you look at the 99 team, we need to try and be as open-minded about that team as possible. So go on, guys. I'm not trying to silence anyone. I'm just saying.
That 99 to really say. I see much more at 08 team than 99 team. I was too
There
young.
you go. See, that's what I mean.
See, I saw a lot of both teams. But Jimmy, you are right. I probably did watch more and watch closer to the double side. But a lot of my favorite United players was in the treble team.
Mm-hmm.
But that front line in that double side,
Deadly.
scary,
bro.
scary.
Hours.
There's not a team in the last 10 to 15 years that wouldn't be scared of that team.
I think our double team beats our treble team. If they had a one-off game, I think they'd beat them.
Fair.
I don't know about that. I wasn't saying that.
You think the treble team beats the?
No, I said I think our double team in a one-off game would beat the treble team.
It could happen. It could happen, but I wouldn't say it confidently.
This could go left. Let's just stick to this.
I wouldn't say it confidently.
Let's just stick to the topic. This could go into a whole different direction.
But I'm just saying the front line in the double side, the pace and the power. Yeah.
So let's stop. Let's just stop. Everyone stop. I'll remove everyone from the stream. Let's just get back to. Let's get back to. Let's bring some order.
I didn't say anything.
Personally, I would go with the treble team. Just
Brian,
my favorite players in there.
I'm gonna say the treble team.
Johnny's obviously going double. Elzo's going double. Okay, Ball FC. I see what's going on. Okay, so
whoa. Ball FC.
You're doing aesthetics.
I'm doing scary
with a handful of players, and this is where Jimmy's right. No, but you know what it is. But there's 5 of us on the panel, and 3 of us have got 99. So I'm 36. I say I'm 35. Sometimes younger, but I'm pushing 40.
I forget how old I am.
That season, I remember that season pretty well. The impact of it, the way we achieved it, the way we did it. Every Champions League game was ITV. You didn't miss those. You may miss a Premier League game, depending if your Skybox was still on when you got home. If you know, you know. But you always had match of the day, and those Champions League games, you didn't miss those on the evening. No one missed them. I don't know if that double team could beat Barcelona, Inter Milan, and Juventus in the same season. I don't know. Yeah. I was listening to Man City fans get bantered the other day, and people were saying, what Man City legends are going to show up today for the final versus Inter legends? And what I found funny is, these same people that were throwing this banter at Manchester City are the same people that want to shit on the 90s when it suits them and the quality of football when it suits them. Because all of the legends they reeled off, apart from the players that played for Jose, it's the Zanettis, it's the Walter Samuels, it's the Cambiasos.
Yo, just look at these combinations coming in the comments. Look at these combos. It's
the Julios. It's We know who it is. Juventus. Come on. You're going to be talking about
Shout out
Zidane.
Joe,
You're gonna
man.
be
Shout
talking
out Joe
about,
Colo, man. Those combos, man. Shout out Joe, man.
if you're talking about Juventus legends, you're going to be talking about Deschamps. You're going to talk about Conte. You're going to talk about Zidane. But how can I say Inter? R9 was in that Inter team that we beat. You're going to be talking about Inzaghi, Rivaldo at Barca, etc. Pep was in that Barca team. Like, the quality of team that the 99 treble team winners had to be in Europe was next level. It was next level. And people need to remember, in 1999, the Premier League at best might have been the third best league in the world. I can't say with chest it was. The Bundesliga might have been better. I can't say because I was watching Bundesliga football. But the German teams were giving us a problem in Europe for multiple seasons. Yeah. We got knocked out by Dortmund in the semi-final in the year before, as an example. Right? So I can't say with chest the Premier League is even the third best league in the world. People need to remember, after the 80s, English football was truly fish and chips in the 90s.
We were brainwashed, Danny. That's the problem, isn't it? We were brainwashed.
One second, Jimmy. It was truly fish and chips in the 90s. Truly fish and chips. Then you get this Man United team that emerges with this class of 92, the golden four midfield, which they used to call it on the continent, of Beckham, Keane, Giggs and Scholes. And they beat Inter, Juve and Barca in one campaign, along with dominating their league, and Premier League, all in one season. And I think that was our second or our third title in a row, probably our second. So in that context, that 99 winning team, the double team can't touch them as a team. As a team, can't touch them. Are there individuals in that team I love more? There are a handful, not that many actually, only one or two, I'll be honest with you. Like Rooney would be one. The others I like, I don't love them. Like Andy Cole, I loved. Keane, I loved. So I'm saying to you, Scholes is better at 99 than he is in 2009. So I'm saying to you. Schmeichel, the level of confidence I had with Schmeichel, I'm winning any fight. Any bar I go into, Schmeichel and Keane are smashing anybody up. You know what I'm saying to you? Dennis Irwin is one of the most disrespected football players you'll ever come across. Guy's clear of Evra. Not even close. Evra's nowhere near Dennis Irwin. And yet people want to put them in the same bracket. Jaap Stam is a better defender than Vidic and Rio. It's just his prime in the Premier League wasn't that long. But trust me, as a pure defender, Stam is clear of those two. Do not get twisted.
Can I just point out something?
Do not get twisted. Beyond that, though, I get it. Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez. I'm going to let man go. Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez played 15 matches together or something like that. Like, people overblow it. It was 4-4-2 every week. And Tevez was on the bench most of the time. I keep it real with you. I remember. I was there at some of those games. So, yeah, for me, that 99 team, I know I've gone off on a tangent here, but I'm passionate about that team. What that team did, and I want Johnny to come back because he's the criminal for the way he casually just, I think they beat him in a one-off game.
You just,
what?
You can't
He's
just
so casually in a one-off game, they beat him. You need to come back, Johnny.
That team played Inter Milan. They played Bayern Munich. They played Barca. They played Juve. They played Milan in that season. But Ben's just pointed out to me actually that they played Barca and Bayern in the group stage, and I forgot that they played Barca.
And they got out of the group undefeated. By the way, they didn't lose a game. Yeah, they didn't lose a game.
I want to comment. Look at casual Joe, under 30s Joe. Roy Keane and Prime Pool Scholes bullied those three. Bullied them. Go back and watch what Roy Keane did to Edgar Davids. Yeah?
You got to remember, though, Van der Sar, Rio and Vidic, it's a combination. You said about Tevez as well. That's because we had Nani going crazy that season as well.
No. Not 09. So it's what people see. We're talking about recency bias. That season was 4-4-2. 90% of the time, then 4-5-1 in the big matches.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So sometimes you'd see Rooney and Tevez in the two with Ronaldo out wide. It was more 4-2-4 with Giggs floating in, Nani floating in, whenever. 4-4-2 most weeks. But then big games, yes, 4-3-3. But I'm telling man now, Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez only started about in 2 seasons, like 15 games together. Yeah, York and Cole trumped Rooney, Ronaldo, and Tevez as a duo. Yeah, not only did they play more games together, they won more together. In reality, I know Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez is electric. On Pro Evolution, it was cold. Pro Evo 8 and 9. Yo, those games were cold. But York and Cole was a duo. Respectfully, they went up against better defenders and they conquered everything and they won more together. What are we doing?
I just don't I don't think it's as clear cut as either side.
I'm getting on to how many times did Ronaldo, Rooney, and Tevez play as a front three, and who did they beat when they did it? How many times? How many teams did they slap it on?
I don't think it was a front three though. I think it was like you said, it was more like a 4-2-4. It was just attacking threat.
Okay, and that 4-2-4, Johnny, you need to come back. My 99 boys eat up that 4-2-4.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that.
You know what, when you actually think about what the 99 team did and the teams that they beat on the route to the final, that kind of just throws my comment out in the water, obviously, because they're one-off games out there, so that it doesn't make any sense. So I retract that statement.
No, these were 2 legs.
2 legs. Yeah.
These were over 2 legs.
No, but it's still champion knockout games.
No, but they weren't a one-off match. But I get what you're saying. Just listen. That double winning team. I was at a better age, had my own situation, had my own sky. It was a good time. Be it, free series, other things going on, driving up to Manchester. It was lit. I have fonder memories of the 08-9 teams. I'd like I was in primary school.
That's the most enjoyable time for Manchester United for me. That's the time I enjoy the most.
We won the 99. Mom was like, "Why are you so excited?" Because she's an Arsenal fan, hating, and then put me to bed straight afterwards. I couldn't even have to wait till school the next day to get gassed again to go enjoy it. Mumsy put man to bed. Turn the TV off. Why are you getting so gassed? It's just a football match. Like, you're moaning because Arsenal are crap. You're going to bed. Got slapped, put me to bed. 99, going to school next day, gassed. Had to wait. Yo, yeah, that 09 situation, very different. Very, very different. Grown-ass man, own situation. My memories of that time are fonder. Rooney's probably my favourite Man United player, just overall. I've never rooted for a player like I rooted for Wayne Rooney. He had the streets, which some people forget. Brian, haven't heard from you too much on this. Apologies, I get passionate. You guys just stop me from talking sometimes. What are you saying, Brian? What are you telling me? Who are you going with?
Yeah, I mean, I chose the treble winning side, and I think I'm in the same position where I have more memory of the double winning side. I actually started getting into Manchester United in the lead up to that double winning side actually going on and winning the Premier League and the Champions League. I remember where I was when they wrapped up both of those, games. But I had to go back and I had to educate myself on the treble winning side because I heard so much about it, and I actually got to watch several of the games and some pretty in-depth documentaries and things on the treble winning side, and just looking at the way that the side was constructed, the state of English football at the time compared to the rest of the continent of Europe, and the teams that Manchester United had to go up against to even get to the final, let alone win it, was unbelievable. And the things that they did to some of those teams in Europe as well, given the landscape of English football, given the way that they constructed that team, like that team should, I mean, when it came to a lot of the players that they were going up against in their prime and the profiles that those players had, United shouldn't have been anywhere near the final, let alone win it in '99. And it got to a point in the run-in where every game was pivotal. And I think even in the Premier League, that '99 team, despite a lot of the challenging teams that they went up against, they only lost 3 games in the league all season. 3 games.
And just a quick point on, like, if you just to compare this City treble to our treble, Man United were expected to do what they did. The expectation was not to. United were expected to do that. Compared to City now, most people expected them to do what they did. We expected them to win the league. Given where they got in that Champions League competition, we all expected them to win it. No disrespect to Real Madrid.
It's more so, Johnny, like when Brian says landscape of the Premier League in 1999, it was fish and chips. The top 2 leagues, La Liga and Serie A, are the most expensive squads, one of the Premier League. overall. Like, and if we're talking Premier League, Newcastle might have had a more expensive squad that season. Man United, Pete, there's this misconception from years of hate. From 92 to 1999, Man United did not spend the most money in the Premier League. It was probably Newcastle. And trust me, teams like Leeds were running Man United close for spending money. On the continent, forget it. And what you said, Bryant, there is very important. Pound for pound on paper, did we actually have the best team in Europe? 1 to 11, 1 to 14, 15. No, we didn't.
Absolutely.
We didn't, because there were some serious teams on the continent. And this is where people get upset. If you want to say City are the best now, they have the best team. They've got the most expensive. It's not forget City, forget them. If we go back to the 09 team, that team was probably the best in the world. There's only other maybe Barca, but they were in decline that season, and we beat them anyway. It was Rijkaard's final season. And Chelsea, who we were competing with, we were on par with those teams, right? We expected to actually get to the final that year and actually do something because we were on that level. The 99 team, I wouldn't say they overachieved, but it's like it kind of was an overachievement.
Yeah, but Daniel, we were expected to beat Bayern Munich. Nobody expected.
Oh, and when you lose Keenan Scholes in the final,
Yep.
Be honest, yeah. Just like as a football neutral, most people expected Manchester City to beat Inter Milan. I was hearing from a lot of people, 4-0, 5-0. That's the expectation that was there for this Manchester City team. Or they're going to roll them over. They're just going to plough them out away. That's what a lot of the sort of the general consensus was. Obviously, I don't watch Serie A, so I don't know how good or bad Inter Milan have been doing in the season or what football they play. So I can't speak to that point, right? So please excuse my ignorance if there's happens to be any Inter fans listening. But the point is, the general consensus was Manchester City is going to be a walk in the park for them. That's not what it was. That wasn't the narrative for Man United in '99.
No.
And that's important. That's important when we're having these discussions. Even on spaces with Hamza and people like that, right? These things matter. You have to talk about these things.
1 second, let me stick it on Mr. Casual Joe. Yeah. Okay.
Joe,
they got to a second final. They got to the second final. One of the reasons why I don't mess with Barcelona anymore is because of that second final we got to. Yeah. And we got mollywopped.
Yep.
You can't bring up a final where you get mollywopped.
That was a thrashing, man.
Yeah. To back up the double winning team. Don't do that. Please don't do that. And like I said, the Premier League was not the best league in the 90s or even early 2000s. Yep. They were not the best league, not the best team. That's what people need to remember.
Also, the double winning team, I was going to say real quick, also the double winning team got beat in the FA Cup semifinal by a Portsmouth side that got relegated that year. Unacceptable.
Yep.
Unacceptable.
Exactly. And at 99,
Portsmouth won the FA Cup, and they got relegated.
People understand, just so people understand how stupid. Hamza tried to discredit Man United's 99 winning, success by pointing out where Juve and Inter Milan finished in the league that season. So Juventus and Inter Milan, and when he's using Wikipedia to do this because that's what Hamza used to rely upon, right? And he's like, Juve finished outside the top 4. Inter finished outside the top 4 that season. And I'm like, Hamza, is that the season like when I don't know, Fiorentina and Parma and teams like that finished inside the top 4 because they had crazy teams, and that's how strong Serie A was. In fact, do you want to tell people what the top 6 in Serie A was that season and who was playing in those top 6 teams? Thuram, Crespo, Buffon. This before Buffon got to Juve. You want to talk about Rui Costa and what he had going on at Fiorentina? Batistuta, come on. There's a he was a beast. I advise anybody, go look at Serie A, end of season 1999, and go look at the players playing for those top 6 teams. So when we tell you the Premier League was not that league in 1999, which is why what Man United achieved was so significant, there's a reason. And go look at who was playing for Madrid and Barcelona in 99 as well. Go and look. Go look at who was playing for Dortmund and all those other German teams. Go and look. Go and look. People, you know what it is? You were right, Jimmy, but that's why people like myself and you and Brian need to remind these, our fellow colleagues here about what the landscape was in 1999. Don't get me wrong, man. Rooney, Ronaldo and Tevez is some pretty prop. We've got Ben here with us, by the way, as well. Ben,
Ben.
respectful.
I was
The biggest
wondering who
thing-
it was. I
biggest
didn't
thing
know
that,
it was.
The biggest thing that Johnny's also forgetting is, and also all these other fans, is the landscape was completely different. Arsenal just come off the back of doing a double-double.
Hey, big up
So
Ben.
the competition that we were competing against were teams who were successful in a very tough league, a very demanding league, and had fundamentally shown it season in, season out. So we weren't even the champions the year before. We'd come off having to listen to Arsenal do what they did twice, to then go and win it, coming off of that. So the competition was fierce back then. You know, it wasn't like where teams will rally against City for a period of time, but ultimately won't be able to get to the finish line. Arsenal, season in, season out, pushed us. So the 99 team for me, you look at the landscape, the players they were playing against from that era, the teams. I mean, one of the Italian teams didn't even make it out of the group stage with Dynamo Kiev because they beat them when Shevchenko and Rebrov were fighting.
Johnny, man, Johnny, put your bum away, bro. This guy, man. Johnny, you're like a 90-year-old man, bro.
Sorry.
I swear to God, bro. You know how cameras work.
Can't
don't
even
you?
wagon just
You
chilling out.
Oh my God. You know how cameras work, Johnny. Come on, man. Come on, bro.
Sorry, I'm sorry, my bad.
Oh my
So yeah,
God.
also big up Joe as well, man. Joe, you missed it earlier. You was getting quoted a lot. So you need to come up and start kicking your finance game.
Oh,
You know what I
Joe,
mean?
yeah, go
Yeah,
look at go Joe be proud. So Joe before, and I repeat this again, you can watch it on the previous. If you go back and watch the whole show for those that joined late, real simple. What would you do? It's just a question. If you were no, forget the Glazers. If you was in this position, what would you do? What would you do? Assuming the bids were the same, what would you do? Would you take 3 billion in cash now, knowing you can sell 9% for a certain amount at a later date, or are you going to take that 3.5 billion in cash today? What are you going to do? We were unanimous in our decision. You're going to have to go back and watch to find out what we said, but let us know in the comments what you would do. Ben, let me throw this question at you again. And Joe, let me know what you would do in the comments as well. What would you do in this situation, Ben? Are you taking the cash?
What if I'm the Glazers?
Yeah, 3.5 billion in cash or 3 billion today, and you sell your 9% for who knows what 3 to 5 years from now.
What if you're the Glazers? You're doing the
No,
Shijima.
what would you do? What would you do? What would you do, Ben?
So let's see. Let's clarify. Me, well, if it was me, I'd probably take the Sheik's money, but I'm not a finance man. I can understand why they would.
No, that's fine. No. Listen, that's why I'm not asking what the Glazers would do. Only they.
I would take the Sheiks purely because of the fact that I've ultimately, well, whatever the percentage rises from whatever they paid for the football club to that figure in a return, they haven't invested anything. So for me, it's a win-win in that I'm walking away. I've spent no money. I'm walking away with 3.5 billion less what I obviously paid for the football club, which was bought on a loan anyway. So that's what I would do personally, and then I can go and do whatever I want to do with my investment there on after.
And by the way, having that amount of cash is scary. People don't like having that type of cash around. That's getting invested somewhere straight away. Elzo and Ben, since the other guys are preoccupied at the moment, what would the number have to be for you to take the Ineos bid? Because you're leaving 450 billion on the table, 450 million on the table. So if you're leaving that on the table because you're holding on to this 9%, what are you looking for in 3 to 5 years? What's that number? What does that number have to be, Elzo?
I think you said it earlier. I'm looking to double up. So if it's 400 now, 450 now from the Sheiks, we're looking anything from 800 to $1 billion. Or do you know what? It could be a lot less, because what other businesses are you going to make that kind of profit? That kind of turnaround in that short amount. So if they sold in 3 years and he made an extra 250 mil, I think that would be worth it. I don't know. That's a tricky question, because you got to think. Because like I said earlier, I'll take that extra 450, and I'll try and flip it the best I can. But if you've got guaranteed, say, all right, in 3 years you're going to get an extra 250 mil. It's a tough question. I don't know. I would like to say double it up, but is that realistic? But I'm just saying.
Me, I would take. I have to go in the comments to see what Joe's saying, but I would take the 3 point. My natural, my first thought is take the cash. Is 3.5 bill. I'm rounding up. That's 3.5 billion. I'm taking it. But then I gets to thinking. I gets to pondering. To quote Omar from The Wire, I gets to pondering, and I'm like, but hold on. There's a new television deal coming. He has to improve the stadium. Football clubs always go up in value naturally. You know what? I might hold on to this 9% if I'm Joel and Avram or a few of the siblings. I might hold on to this. You know what? This 9% might have to go to the kids. So they can flip it in 30, 40, 50. The same way our father gave us something to inherit. So they could look at it that way. It's about what the goal is. To be honest, the more I be honest, I would take, me personally, I would take the Ineos bid if it was me selling the club. Because that 9%, just as a father, that 9% for my children, that means a lot. It means way more than the cash. If people don't know, billionaires don't hold on to cash. That money's getting invested somewhere. You don't, cash is trash, as they say. So but that 9%, if you're telling me Man United's going to be worth 7-8 billion, or 6 billion, I'm talking stock market value, not perceived value from a buyer. I'm saying one day the share price might reflect the real value of the football club. So it could be worth 4 or 5 billion on the stock market alone, let alone the perceived value. If Ineos wanted to sell at a later date, that 9%, yeah, man, that's going into a trust fund for my children. And that 9% is going to be B shares. That 9% is not getting converted. We can remove the clause so you can buy Ineos, but the 9% we hold will also be B shares. And you know what? That's staying with the family. That's what I might do.
So Joe's just said he would keep a stake.
Yeah, I know Joe's thinking of generation. I know Joe would. Joe, let me tell you what Joe would do. Joe would keep 9%, and just to piss Man United fans off, would sell 2% a year from now. Then he'd sell another 1%. Yeah, and bear in mind it's in shares, so it's not really in percentages, but look at it that way. He'll sell 0.5%, then sell another. Joe will milk that 9% over 5 to 10 years and make his billion on top. That's what Joe would do. No doubt about that. And if I had somebody like Joe advising me, I'd probably do the same. But it depends, man. Either way, the Glazers, they don't lose. That's why I can't stand these owners. But again, let us know in the comments what you would do. Ben, real quick, what would that number be for you? If you're going to leave, 450 million on the table, what's that number have to be in 5 years?
I mean, I think for me, Danny, it would easy if you're going on the proportionality of what the club needs, what needs doing to the football club, with what it's valued at already, with what still needs to be done, and the Glazers. You can think if you've got the Glazers hat on, but the new owners are going to come in and do all this because they're going to have to. So that's only going to put more substantial value on the football club than what it's valued at already when all this mess needs addressing. So you could easily look at $1 billion purely because of the fact that the club's then going to go up in money because what's been done, the infrastructure is going to be improved. It's more of an attractive proposition to sponsors. The TV deal is due to be renewed soon. The potential for them better players to come to the football club because of the money involved, etc., etc. So for them, they're only going to see probably, I'd say easily another $1 billion. It wouldn't be illogical because our football club's a unicorn football club. It's not like it's a football club where they're just selling at the right time because the stars have aligned. It's a football club that's fundamentally got such a historical value that even with the state it's in now, it's worth a ridiculous sum of money.
You know what it is as well? Don't be surprised if we find out, listen, Sheik Jassim might let the Glazers keep a little piece of the pie as well. Don't be surprised. Do not be surprised.
That's business. It's negotiation, isn't it? You know, you come to the table and you come up with a solution because Yeah, they could fluctuate. They could move around. I'm sure they're business guys. Do you know what I mean?
No, but why not? If you're Sheik Jassim by 90% of the club, let them hold a little 10%.
Let them hold it. Who cares? Like, you know.
And in that way, I know I'm getting my bread, the bread I want from Sheik Jassim in 5 years. I know whatever it is I want in 5 years or 10 years, the Sheik's gonna pay. Ineos, you're gonna have to negotiate. They're gonna have to go to a bank to get the money. Blah 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 blah. So there's pros and cons to both sides, by the way.
But this is where you're going to find out.
Sides.
This is where you find out, Danny. This is where you find out who the bandwagon fans are, because what you find is
it came out that the Glazers.
Wait, Johnny, wait.
Suddenly, won't be a problem.
So you find that the fans that everyone's getting angry because if Ineos take over and they leave the 10% with the Glazers, everyone's kicking a fuss about it. Flip the tables. If the Qataris offer the same, people will be okay with that. So this is where I keep saying sometimes, you know, that substance is important and people just jump on bandwagons. Do you understand what you're angry about? So when I was saying at the start, when we were having a conversation, Danny, when I was saying, you know, if you think, do as football fans, just from a football perspective, because we're football fans, we're not, unless some people have shares in Man United, I don't know. As far as I'm concerned, when we're having these conversations, we're having them as football fans. Does the landscape look completely different with Ineos owning the club, leaving the Glazers with 10%, which gives them no say whatsoever in the club? Does the landscape look completely different to if the Qataris do exactly the same thing? And everyone says, yes,
Jimmy,
it looks
you already know
different.
People will do the mental gymnastics to accept it. And that's why all of this, we're being betrayed. Last time I checked, all billionaires are dirty, right? And ruthless and cutthroat, right? They all got blood on their hands. But now you're being portrayed because they might leave the Glazers with a minority stake. Stop being... Just stop it, man. We're talking about $1 billion transaction.
So what I've also been thinking is, if the Ineos deal did go through, they might not ever want to buy that.
I knew it. Look at this guy. What'd I say? Knew it.
They might not. They might not even want to buy them out of that 9%.
That's true.
If Ineos, because they think they haven't got much power, they ain't got much say, so I think they might just, and that's where the fans get upset.
Do you know what's sticky as well? And this is more of a Twitter space football. We're gonna have to add a what's this finance segment to this space at some point. Yeah, I'm gonna have to get Elzo to go into the studio, talk to your cousin, get a beat for that. What's this finance? And get Joe to unpack, because one thing that is sticky, and I have seen this referenced months ago, not recently, that Sir Jim actually does not want them to keep B shares. So the whole share structure would have to change. That's complicated. That makes Sheik Jassim's offer more palatable, actually, in some ways, because it's a simpler transaction. But yes, it's a space question. But what I'm wondering is, they need permission from Ineos to potentially sell their shares on the market if they're converting from B to 8 again, or if there's some similar type of structure. That's where this gets mad techie. I'm not even going to get into that. I was just thinking out loud. I'll let Joel think about that when we'll discuss that later. What I want to do before we go, though, real quickly, we're going to do this super, super quick. No delay, no hesitation. We're going to do this is an Ultimate 11. Yeah, Ultimate 11. Man City Centurions, Man City treble winning team, Man United treble, Man United double. We're just going to pick an 11. No lay. So we'll be going for an hour and a half. We need to get this done. Goalkeeper, Schmeichel, Van der Sar, or Edison?
Schmeichel.
Yeah, Schmeichel for me, yeah.
That's assuming that I can even... Is Schmeichel on here? Can I even get Peter Schmeichel on here? Let me see. You can. Big up to this website. All right, let me share this screen. Cool. So we're going with Schmeichel, yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. Left back.
Owen.
Cancelo, all these guys that people...
Did you just say... Did you say Irwin? We're talking about everyone. It's a mixed 11, you know, including
Yeah,
the city.
Everyone.
Irwin
So
has to be
Yeah,
Irwin.
Ryan,
Dennis Irwin.
you
I'm
want to
just
pick
going off top of
Mendy,
my head who I think best.
Cancelo? Let's go right
No.
back. Carl Walker or Gary Neville?
Kyle Walker.
Carl Walker.
That's quite easy.
Carl Walker or Wes Brown?
Kyle
Kyle
Walker.
Walker still.
Where's Brown?
Carl Walker.
No, Ben says West Brown.
See, when I said to people, you know what, we'll leave that for a space later. Go on, let's finish this quick.
Brown was criminally underrated.
Listen, there's no, I'm sorry, like, just in terms of overall, the level we hit, etc., there's just no debates on this one. Let me just get him now.
Real. I've been it.
Yeah, there's no debates on that. So, John Stones, Diaz, Company, Laporte, Otamendi. We're talking Ronnie Johnson, Yap Stam, Nemanja Vidic.
This is not possible. It's not possible.
Stam.
To do it.
Who else? Who have I missed? David May, Henning Berg. Who have I missed from City centre backs?
Gotta be Stam.
Or Company, Otamendi.
Pallister was still on the club then.
What?
I'll
But
put-
yeah, but then Company's
I'll put-
right-footed, isn't he, as well? So what? You got two right-footed centre backs.
Akanji, Nathan Ake. You guys want Ake and these guys in this team?
I'll put Company, to be honest.
No,
Over Yap Stam?
No, Yap Stam for me. Come on, man. Yap Stam's a shoe-in.
Nah, you know, I would go for Company as well. You know, I'm not gonna
Over Yap
lie.
Stam?
Man.
Over Yap Stam?
Come on,
No,
man.
just wait. Just are we looking at it as who's next to Ferdinand, or are we just putting a name?
No, the best available is Yap Stam. I don't know
No,
how
no,
we're doing this.
Right, if it's just best available, then it's Yap Stam, of course.
Okay, so left back.
Irwin.
It's Owen. Just save time. It's Owen. Because you're gonna start saying cliche and stuff like that.
See that he's not even in here, and I can spell. One thing I can spell is Dennis Irwin, and he's not even on this list, which highlights just how disrespected is it. Dennis is one.
Disgraceful list.
Unless they spelled his name wrong.
Just put Irwin and see what comes up.
Yeah, don't put Dennis.
How is his name not coming up?
Wow,
that's ridiculous.
That is disgraceful.
Leave it blank. Putting some weirdo in there.
That tells you. Are we really gonna? I'll be honest with you. Let me just pick a midfield. I'm sorry. I'm gonna pick this midfield.
Keenan scores have been there.
Yeah, I'm gonna pick this midfield.
Yeah.
And then you man tell me.
Keane is the first name in there for me.
Keane scores.
This is my kind of midfield, Daddy.
Anyone disagree?
No, I don't
midfield beats
disagree with
anyone.
Cold.
Can't disagree with that.
That midfield beats anyone.
That's cold.
That's what I'm going with.
That midfield. That should be illegal.
This is where it gets techie.
Ronaldo has to go on
Andy
right.
Cole.
Oh, this is
For
impossible.
me, it's Ronaldo.
You just can't do it. It's
Ronaldo, Cole, Giggs.
not doable, man.
Ronaldo, Cole, Giggs. No
It's
one's
gotta be
displacing Giggs.
because I can't see anyone
You
in
can't
the
displace
City
Giggs. You can't
teams.
displace Ronaldo. Let's be honest. You can't displace them.
I can't see anyone in the City teams starting ahead of Giggs. So Giggs is right.
Oh, wrong Ronaldo. I put the real one, not the fake one. Hold on.
And then up top, Andy Cole, or well, suppose Ireland really for his goal output. But I'd personally still go Andy Cole.
Listen, let's just keep it a buck. It's Haaland up front. As a lone striker, what we have to as a lone striker, I love Andy Cole, love Dwight York, appreciate Teddy, love Solskjaer, Rooney, Ronaldo, Tevez, all of that's great. Ronaldo played as a right winger most of the time. So he played most of his games for Man United. Occasionally on the left, occasionally as a striker in big matches, but he spent most of his time on the right wing. This is what people who actually lived through it and watched it remember, unlike the under-25s who in primary school and seem to have forgotten. He played most of his games right wing. Ryan Giggs left wing, please Sane or whoever just shut
To be
up.
fair, I'm not going to lie, Danny. You could even throw Kanchelskis in before any other City player on the right.
True. So just to be clear, City Centurions, City treble winning team, Man United treble winning team, Man United double winning team. And does anyone disagree with this 11?
I'm just thinking Rooney, but
Now, as a lone striker, Rooney
yeah, I'm
is
just thinking Rooney
that's
for Haaland. I don't
2000
know.
That's
Just
10-11. That's
did
2010-11.
Rooney give you more than Haaland? Generally,
Rooney as a striker in his one season, as amazing as it was, Haaland this season is levels. I'm sorry, and Rooney's I might say something different in the Twitter space, but on no agendas, I have to keep it a buck. I'm going to put Haaland in there.
I think the only one for me, purely from a technical standpoint, because he was, if but for his injuries, he would have been.
Although, no, you know what?
Wes Brown was better than
Nah,
Walker.
you know what? Actually, no, but Rooney didn't do that in the double team. Now, I have to go based on the achievement of the team. See, I started getting memories and flashbacks to what Rooney was doing in 2011.
Rooney was just different, bro.
That Rooney can give Haaland the run for his money because he's a better footballer.
Wayne Rooney is my favorite footballer for probably.
Anyone disagree in the midfield? Look, there's no Bernardo Silva. There's no Kevin De Bruyne.
I would have liked to see De Bruyne in the midfield personally.
Ahead of who?
What about any?
Ahead of who?
If I had to choose someone, I would put him ahead of Yaya Toure.
No way.
And here's my reason. I think that De Bruyne has achieved more at Manchester City.
Hold on a second. Yaya's not part of that team. What's wrong with me?
Yeah,
he was. He was, Danny. Danny, he was. That was his last season.
Yeah,
that
was
his last season.
Yeah, but he's not. That's not prime Yaya Toure.
No, but he played well in that season. So why wouldn't you put him there?
Because KDB was better that season.
He wasn't better than Yaya Toure,
and he's been better since.
Well, yeah, but Yaya Toure was leaving, and he was still amazing.
Yaya Toure.
De Bruyne is a better player.
No, prime Yaya Toure is 13-14.
I get you putting him in there ahead of Toure, but I don't think De Bruyne was a better player than now.
No. But we're going based off what those players achieved and the level they hit in the seasons in question. Yeah, not their careers. Like in a Man United shirt in a Premier League team, Wayne Rooney is still clear of Haaland. Haaland's had one season. You can tell me what you think Haaland's going to do. He ain't done it yet. Rooney's still, his career's over. But I can put a career over one season. In the case of KDB and Yaya, actually 17-18, that's not. Let's be honest, that's not the Yaya. We were thinking of 12-13 Yaya.
Are we putting KDB ahead of David Silva in that season?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, probably.
And then you got KDB this season as well.
People have been a bit disrespectful to David Silva here, man.
David Silva didn't win a treble. KDB's won both, Centurion and treble winner.
True.
And back end of the season, been phenomenal.
True.
You saw what he did against Madrid as well. Unfortunate to go off injured in the final. What are we doing? Next, you want to have Rodri over Roy?
I think the only one I would change for me is still Rooney for Haaland. I'd still put Rooney.
I was going to ask some questions. Do you want to put Rodri in for Keane because Rodri's a baller?
Impossible.
No, but Rodri's a baller.
Impossible.
You don't want to put John Stones in for Yak Stamp?
Impossible. That's what Joe said. And I couldn't believe that he actually said that.
Man is on jokes, bro. Man is on jokes.
Impossible.
Not a chance.
I think Wes Brown pushes Walker because when Wes Brown wasn't injured and he had that season where he played most games, it was phenomenal.
I'm sorry.
Well, Walker was just faster.
I think Walker gets disrespected a lot. I think
he's a good player, Elzo. But if you look at Gary Neville, for instance, Gary Neville
he's more than good. He's more than good. I think when it's all said and done, he will go down as
shout out to Alex saying. Shout out to Alex saying that Cara would have put Grealish over Giggs. That's probably very true, to be honest. That's probably not far off.
Yeah, because if Grealish can go to Turin and do what. Anyway, yeah, I think this is the team. Yeah, this is the team. Let me get this downloaded now. It's disgusting that Dennis Irwin's
You know what
not
the City fans would say, innit? There's too many Man United players in there, so they wouldn't believe this team. They would just
disgusting. Then they'll be like, what type of football do you want to play? I don't care about that. Who are the elite? The elite of these 4 teams that have achieved something important in football? Who are the greatest players, the
I
best
think if
players?
people are being honest with themselves, Daniel, not many could argue with that team. You couldn't argue it like a vehement disagreement with it. You could debate, but like really, like as in like be annoyed that that's the team. I don't think people should be annoyed that that's the team. If you're being honest, that's a scary team.
Can we somehow find a way to put Rooney in and put him from the left, or not? Or
what?
Or is
So
that
what?
doing
Take
too
gigs
much?
out? Take gigs out.
Also, but I thought you might be trying to get Fred in there.
Are we doing too much? Just trying to fit Rooney in.
Well, if I was gonna put Rooney in, to be honest, I'd take Ronaldo off. That's who I'm taking off is Ronaldo. Because you can't take gigs off. The things this guy was doing on the ball is just stupid, bro. Like it's just, I've never seen a footballer do those things before, ever. Not anyone ever. So now Giggs has to stay in that team. I'd debate. Yeah, playing him. I don't know. You can't really.
Jimmy, have you ever heard of Ronaldinho? Yes.
Hey,
You ever heard of Ronaldinho?
what? No, but I'm. What do you mean? Are you talking about the statement I've just made?
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about just Ronaldinho was a technical player. Well, I know he was. He was what he was, but I'd never seen a player take the ball from the back and just fucking bomb it down the wing and just go past everyone. And
you
then
guys can discuss this on the space. We
Oh,
have
exactly.
been the No Agenda. Yeah. No Agenda Football Podcast. Some people want to call it No Agendas. Let us know in the comments what you think. Make sure you like, subscribe, smash the notification bell so you know when we're going live. We'll be back again next week. And yeah, aside from that, hopefully when we come back, we know who the new owners are going to be.
Apologies if anybody's
That'd
coming
be
out
nice.
tonight.
Say that again.
That'd be sweet.
You know what? Don't make me expose Mr. ITK, Johnny. Don't let me expose you. Yeah, I can expose you right now, Mr. ITK.
Me?
Don't talk about noise coming out or this is happening or that's happening.
I ain't said anything.
We'll talk about it off camera. We'll talk
said
about
I
ITK.
just want to shout out my set BDL as well. Shout out BDL my
I
set
said
in it.
apologize.
BDL shout out.
Oh, real quick, BDL.
Shout out BDL my set. Shout out Gangdom. You know the man.
likes of Johnny, Shubs, Joe
Fuck Big L
Colo,
always.
quote tweeting Bruno tweets from Man United like news accounts.
Shout out
Ignore
BDL.
them. Ignore them. Let them do their thing. Yeah.
BDL sucks that one.
Yeah.
Shout out BDL.
Ignore them. Let them eat. Let them eat. Bruno starved them all. Same thing with Fred haters. Shout out to the FDL as well. Yeah. If Fred leaves, he's leaving Man United in good standing. Elzo won that battle. You guys didn't win that battle.
There you go.
We're not FC. We don't mind if these guys go, but while you guys just hate on them all day, while they're actually putting in performances, but the guys you like, the ballers, ain't doing nothing, and you got nothing but excuses. But take the summer off, BDL. Take the summer off. You've earned it. We'll see you again next week. We're gonna go offline. I'm gonna tell people about Johnny's. Tell these men about Johnny's ITK shenanigans.
I'm not an ITK. I'm not an ITK. I'm not an ITK, you fraud. Don't do that.